Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. Before I get into anything, I just want to address what happened at Gillette Stadium over the weekend. I guess we're just kind of pushing this message on the show is that fans should not be fighting each other in the stands, and it is just a game, and let's control ourselves at NFL stadiums. It's really getting out of control when you're seeing these videos every week of people fighting, and unfortunately someone lost their life. So let's all do better. But that's enough of that. My guest this week, Greg Kelly. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're having you back. We had you back in January. We talked about the Challenge Cup.
Yep.
Now we're going to focus just on you here. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Somerville, Mass, and then moved to Tewksbury, Mass. And I went to high school in Tewksbury, and then now I'm up here in Merrimack.
Okay, nice. Now, did you play sports in high school?
Yeah, so I played baseball, and basketball was my primary sport growing up. So I played, when my mom moved us to Tewksbury, I played travel basketball like every year, then AAU basketball, and then I still played baseball now and then, and I liked it. And then in high school, I played both basketball and baseball for 3 years, and then gave up baseball to stick with basketball.
Nice. Now, are you still, because we know you play a lot of softball, like, do you still play any, like, recreational basketball, or?
I wish. That's the thing it's the polar opposite of softball.
Yeah.
Every town has a softball league. You can find a softball league anywhere and everywhere. Games almost every night. Like, you'll see people on Facebook, they're like, anybody need a guy tonight? And it's most of the time they'll find one.
Yeah.
Basketball is the opposite. It's like, and I would assume a lot of it's because it's inside and outdoor courts are pretty much public, so it's just harder to find basketball leagues. But whenever I can, I try. Hopefully over the winter, there'll be, I'm thinking about starting like some sort of pickup where people could just like Sunday morning or something meet up and play somewhere, rent a court.
Yeah, I know. There's a guy I have on my Facebook. I think his name's Carl something, and he has he owns it. It's like called the NBA, like Manchester Basketball Association or something.
It sounds familiar.
I see posts about it, but I don't know much about it. I just see it once in a while. So
I know, like in Derry, the sports zone where they do indoor.
Yeah,
they run a lot of basketball leagues there. It's pretty good. I just haven't been able to get on a team.
Yeah,
but
I was a wrestler growing up, so I suck at basketball. Like, I mean, I'm horrible, so I don't even bother with that. Now, what are 3 things everybody should know about you?
I do love playing softball, but I think it's other things that, like basketball is another thing that most people see me playing softball a lot. I love basketball. I love movies and music, and then like I mentioned to you prior to the show, is one thing people don't really know is I have Lyme disease.
Yeah.
So
tell me
that's another thing that it's not anything major, but it's just something most people don't know. So.
Yeah, now how do you, like, because we were kind of talking about this walking in, now how do you handle, like, when it flares up and stuff like that?
So it's pretty new to me. Like, I haven't really noticed any flare-ups because I've had it now probably for about 10 years.
Okay.
So flare-ups are, like, very rare, but, like, when it happens, I get, like, back pain, and a lot of it's, like, I might feel sick sometimes, but it's more so, it doesn't happen often, so it's not really, like, a big thing to me, but when it does, it's, like, it is painful, but it's all right.
Because it's funny, like, when I was a kid, my parents were always like, check for ticks, you don't want to get Lyme disease. So I was terrified to get Lyme disease. Like, when you got diagnosed, you were like, oh my gosh, or?
Yeah, so I mean, I got Bell's palsy, which is a part of it.
Okay.
It's where like I looked like Two-Face.
Yeah.
I'd smile and one side of my face would move and the other side would be just droopy. And then when I finally got diagnosed, I didn't even know that it is dormant in your body for like forever.
Okay.
Whether you take the medicine, like I had to give myself IVs for a month, and I didn't even know about flare-ups till all of a sudden, like I started getting back pain and stuff, and then I asked and I like did some research, and that's when I found out like you don't like it doesn't go away forever. You can have flare-ups and stuff, and it all depends. Like you could have it, but you might never have a flare-up.
Yeah.
Other people have them all the time. Other people have them like once every 6 months. It's all weird, but I manage it. It's not bad.
Yeah, I've only known. I mean, you might be like the third person I've ever met that has it, and unless other people just don't disclose it. But I don't know that many people that have Lyme.
I mean, to be honest, some people probably don't even know that they have it.
Yeah.
It's like if you get, you've definitely had ticks before where you're like, oh, I'm surprised I even found this. It's like, especially like in your hair or something like that. Like ticks can be everywhere, and especially up here in the woods when playing softball, it's like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So some people probably don't even know that they have it. They just don't get any symptoms right away.
Yeah.
But
no, well, no, that's interesting because I've only found a tick on me one time. It was about 4 years ago. It was the first time that I ever noticed one, and I was like, it took this long. I'm like 34, 35 years old. But I could have had one before and never knew it.
yeah, so when I got it, I didn't have a tick on me. They checked me and everything, and I don't know, but they never found one, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Now, sticking with the theme of the show, this is the money question we ask everybody. And it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But what does it mean to you to be an American?
I think being able to have the freedom and like privileges that we have here. My mom was born in Greece, and she has polio actually, and that's one thing that back then certain countries like vaccines, for example, weren't available or readily available. So like in Greece back then, my mom, they didn't have a polio vaccine, which obviously we did. So I think that's like a big thing where it's not only the freedom, but like it's the privileges we have, whether it's school or medical or anything. Is just being an American is about like appreciating that stuff. So I think that's, some people lose sight of being appreciative of certain things that we have here, and it's just, to me, being an American is appreciating everything that we do have here.
Absolutely. And so when did your mom come over then?
When she was 7, she came over by herself.
Oh, wow.
And then she lived with our other family in Ohio, family that had already come over.
Yeah.
And then my grandparents and my aunt and my other aunt came over like a few years later.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of first generation then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, you got a bunch of fan questions, so I'm going to get right into that. First one from Ryan O'Sullivan. And Ryan, I just want to address Sully. Can we clean up the language in the questions? Again, this is a family show. We've talked about that a lot. But he wants to know, what is his 40 time? I heard he's fast as F-boy. We're not going to use that word here.
4.4. I like to think. But I've always been told that I was fast for my size, because even when I was a kid, I was always one of the bigger kids, and playing basketball, like, that was a big thing, and even softball now, a lot of teams will kind of, people that don't know me will like underestimate me, and whether I'm on first base and then I get to third on a single, they don't expect it, so I take pride in that. But
I don't even know what's a good time for a 40. I don't even know.
4.4. That's just what they say in football. So yeah. There's no way I could run that. But yeah. I mean, who knows? I would say anything under 4.4. Okay. That's usually, I think that's what anybody in football, the NFL, if someone runs a 4.4
that's it.
Yeah, everyone says they're fast.
Is there anything behind this? Because I know I've seen it a lot at the field. Like the other day, Ramel and somebody wanted to race each other. Is this something you got going on with Ryan? Like, did he challenge you to a race at any time, or is this a random question?
So what happened was, there was the TikTok that went viral that was like somebody running, and it was a voiceover that said "fast as."
Oh, okay.
And you really have no idea how fast I really am, and it was a TikTok that went viral. and then someone got a video of me running the bases, and they put the voiceover on it.
Okay.
So then so everyone started saying it to me because I posted the video, and it was just funny. So,
is this a Merrimack thing? Because I've noticed a lot of, even today, I think TB posted something on someone's wall where people are making the memes of each other.
Oh, that's HUD. HUD always makes memes of everybody. Like, he kind of started that in softball. Like, he'd make random memes of everybody, but then it's just kind of taken off. I don't think it's necessarily just a Merrimack thing, but I think it's just this area in general likes to push each other's buttons.
I mean, the iPhones and everything have come so far.
Yeah.
Like, you can do
all it takes is an app, and you can make whatever picture you want.
Yeah, they're pretty funny. I gotta say. From Michael Thomas wants to know, and this is kind of a weird question. I don't know how to address this.
HUD. Yeah.
I'm assuming. Oh, this is HUD.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this has to do some kind of ribbing here. But how many bowel movements do you make a day? I don't.
He probably just wanted to ask the most weird question possible, and
there's no story behind this.
There's just he probably just wanted to ask the most uncomfortable question because that's just what he does.
Okay.
Love him, but
is he the one that did the video of TB, but like a mock?
All the impressions.
The impression.
Yes, that's HUD, and he's so funny, and he tries to make. That's the thing. He tries to make everyone uncomfortable, but like he does it in a good way where, like, if you're his teammate, it's like you aren't stressed out, like you aren't thinking about that stuff.
Yeah,
you're kind of just like playing loose and whatever. So I mean, he's great, and he makes everyone laugh, and he's a great guy too.
Yeah, it's better when you're like including people in on the joke if you're ribbing them.
Yeah.
Instead of, there's a big difference between that. So, Mark Bladd, he's one of the guys out of Hampton area, Rochester area, pitcher. He says, where does he get those clean shaves? You haven't shaved today, so I don't know.
No, it's the Cut Barbershop in Tingsboro, Mass. A kid that used to play softball with us in Lowell, Misael, he opened his own shop, so it's right there in Tingsboro. It's great. Best guys around.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've noticed they've sponsored. Someone had a barbershop sponsored team the other night. I can't remember who it was, but anyways, I want to get to this because this has taken on a life of its own. About your nickname, Greta. Brittany Damon says, Greta, please explain all 3 levels of your name. 1 Greg, 2 Greta, 3 Gretchen.
So this all came because my girlfriend Jacinda, who you had on last week's guest, obviously my name's Greg, and one time I made a bad play or something in a game, and she's always great. Like, she's one of the people that I go to, like, to talk about what's wrong with, or what she sees I'm doing wrong, etc. And one night during a game, I made like a bad play or something, and she went to like say my name, and she couldn't get out Greg, and she said Greta. So then I think she might have been like not mad at me, but like kind of like saying something to me, and she said Greta, and then it kind of just stuck, and then she started getting everybody to say it.
Okay.
So now Britt Schultz, and then even my teammates from Springfield, she came to a couple tournaments, and she started saying, like, his new name's Greta. And then I'd be playing tournament games, and then all of a sudden you hear, like, come on, Greta. And it's like, now everyone started to say it. And then Gretchen is kind of if I'm, like, in trouble.
Okay.
So it's kind of just the third level. Like, if she's mad, she'll say Gretchen. Or if she, like, really thinks that I did something wrong, she'll say that. But it all started because she just couldn't get my name out. And she just jumbled it up and said Greta instead of Greg. So it's just hilarious.
It's definitely taken on a life of its own because I see it used more and more.
Yeah.
I think Pat Conley's calling you that now, too.
Everybody. It's insane.
Might have to put that on a jersey or something.
We have our Mass Wolverines tournament group chat, and then there was a couple times where one of my boys, Slime, I played it, And it was just a voice message, and it just said Greta, and it's like, so now everybody says it, and it's just funny. I love it.
That's how those start. Like when people first started calling me Tiny Pipes, because at the time I was like a weightlifter.
Yeah.
And I was in shape, but I'm also not a big guy. And Rico started calling me that to mock me because I kept flexing at Manny Miranda in a game, and I didn't know them at the time.
Yeah.
So then everybody started calling me Tiny Pipes. I hated it. I absolutely hated it because I knew, like, I worked hard to, be in the shape that I was in. I just didn't get the joke. I didn't think it was funny, and then it didn't stop. And then I was like, okay, you can either get angry about this or embrace it.
Yeah.
And now it took on a life of its own.
Embracing it's better anyways. I mean, Greta, like, I laugh every time someone says it. Like, especially Jacinda. Like, I'll be playing in a game, and I'll get, for example, I'll hit a double, and it was at the state tournament in Taunton a couple weeks ago, and I hit a double, and right when I get to second base, I hear, "Good job, Greta," and I know it's just, I start laughing, and it keeps me loose, and it's great. I enjoy it, and everyone else thinks it's funny, so I mean, it's great.
Yeah, you got to run with it. Tyler McClure, one of the Bennington guys, I think he runs the league out there. How long has it been since he's seen it? Is this a movie or?
I don't know.
Or is this an inappropriate joke? And
it's probably an inappropriate joke. So
I gotta address this. I'm gonna start making cuts on questions because some of these are like, guys, again, family show.
Yeah, I mean, I think people just don't pay attention to that aspect. It's because sorry, people say everything on Facebook, so it's like people just don't. They don't think about what goes on behind the scenes, like the show and being a family show. So I mean,
it's not a big deal. I mean, Facebook can, you're right. It's a quick type, you put it on there, and that's the society we live in now. And you know what? I do like it at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of questions, Pat Conley had a very lengthy one. And I think I was like, because if you know how I do the show, I write out the questions to bring them on. So Pat's was quite the question, but it's a very sweet, nice question, so we're going to ask it.
Okay.
As one of the older players in some of the leagues, you're one of the players who I look up to on the field and enjoy playing ball with you. You, as well as many of the high-level players, interact well with others. My question is, all the games you play, work, home life, how do you find the balance with all the teams you make to make a commitment? We see a lot of commitment issues in leagues these days and seems to be a growing problem. How do you manage it? And he also gives you a shout out.
So I appreciate it, Pat. I think one of the biggest things is with commitment is people will, I've seen it a lot from guys that I know and play with too. It's a lot of the time people are kind of afraid to say no.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be like that, and everybody knows each other in softball to where everybody knows that each other play all the time and around. So it's, for me, like when I get asked to play on a team, prior to the season, I will weigh out the options. And for example, I know that I'm never going to not play in Merrimack.
Yeah.
So I know Mondays and Wednesdays is full all summer. So that leaves Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, like that's fine. And so I know people that will say there'll be another Monday, Wednesday league, and they're like, yeah, we'll play. And then they'll have games the same nights or something. And then it conflicts them because they're like, okay, which game do I go to? Or I have to make X amount of games in this league and X amount in that league. I don't even put myself in that position. Like Mondays and Wednesdays are booked, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays are pretty much the same thing, but it's more so just you have to understand like you're one person.
Yeah.
And I think that, and a lot of people don't think about like the traveling and what you're putting that person in, like the predicament that you're putting them in by saying, yeah, I'll play, and then you don't show up.
Which is worse.
So, which is worse. So, I mean, I think that's one thing that a lot of people could focus more on is like caring about the consequences if you just say yeah and then never show up. And it's, for me personally, I mean, Jacinda definitely makes it a lot easier because she's supportive and like comes to the games and stuff like that. And during the fall now we're playing co-ed together, so it's like it's easier. But it also comes down to communication. And I know that's a big issue with a lot of even the commitment is someone will say like they're going to play, and then on game days and stuff like they just don't answer.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a thing I've been playing almost 20 years. That's always been a thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I just don't understand how people could do that. And it's like, to me, if I can't show up, I'm just going to say I can't show up. And I've had people ask me, they're like, can you play on this league or that league? And I'm like, I might be able to, but I can't. Like, I got asked for a fall league that in Pelham. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I can't really make a full commitment because I was already I'm playing co-ed with Jacinda and Dugas and Schultz. So I said, like, if you need me and I'm not busy or don't have a game, like, yeah, I'll show up. So it's kind of like I think of it like a per diem work thing. It's just like, if I can make it and you want me to there, I'll play. But I'm not going to tell you, yeah, I'll play on the team, because it does me no good. Then it does you no good, because you're going to think, oh, well, Greg will be there, and I'm not going to be there. So I think people just got to be better about like communicating and not being afraid to say no.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, because you don't want to let your buddies down, but like you're letting them down more.
Yeah.
When it comes down to like you really can't do it.
Exactly. And I think that's just a problem that is. I don't even think that's just a problem in softball. I think that's a problem with everything in society in general. It's like the communication is just not what it should be, and it causes a lot of issues.
When you're not really it's like softball is not it's our recreational have fun activity.
Exactly.
So it's like there's nothing really holding you to it. You know, if it's work, you couldn't do that at a job, but a job pays you, right? So it's like, but it's definitely. If I say I'm going to be somewhere, I always want to be there too. But people do double book. I mean, that happens. I like Pelham. I'll never go to Pelham because I know that I don't really know Pelham, like the town, well. I used to do a joint practice for wrestling, right, with the Pelham team. And I remember getting lost in Pelham, so I never want to go back there ever again. So, like, I would say, no, I don't really want to play there. But, like, you're right. Like, you need to know your nights. And because I know that happens. There's a Pelham men's league. There's a Londonderry men's league that sometimes conflict with the Merrimack League.
Yeah, and I mean, even the co-ed league, like, our games are anywhere from Monday to Thursday. But, like, I'd feel uncomfortable if I committed to, say, the Pelham Fall League and then have, like, multiple nights a week where the games are, like, for example, playing 6:30 in the co-ed league and then having, like, an 8:30 game in Pelham. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to be flying around different places. And then, for example, like, if the one game runs late and I can't make Pelham, it's like, I don't want to have to text somebody last minute and be like, oh, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
It's like, I just remove myself from that situation completely. And that's the biggest part, is like, you got to be able to balance it out. And like I said, Jacinda makes it a lot easier, and we communicate, so things are pretty straightforward from week to week. So it's great.
Yeah, the only day I'll double dip and when I say double dip, like do two teams in a day, is Sunday.
Yeah.
Because usually there's a Sunday morning league and then Nashua Saturday afternoon. So there's really never going to be conflict there.
Exactly.
And that's it. During the week, though, I couldn't imagine being like, yeah, I'm going to play on 2 during the week.
Yeah.
There's only a couple hours on a Tuesday night you can play or Thursday night you can play.
So that's why it was easy for me this year, like playing Monday and Wednesday in Merrimack, and then Nashua was Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's like, those are the only 2 leagues I needed because they were on set days.
Yeah.
Very specific times, and it's easy to manage, especially with work and just life. I couldn't imagine, and don't get me wrong, years ago I did that, where I had times where I'd go from town to town playing, but that just got like way too much, and obviously like all the money on gas and stuff like that, trying to run around. It's like, I just removed myself from that situation completely. It
adds up.
Yeah.
I gotta say, my one and I like playing the church league because I like playing in one of my leagues that's like Christian based. My one criticism though is it's not the same nights every week, and that makes it really hard. Like, I wish that league would just say we're just doing Fridays.
That's how Pelham is. Pelham is Monday through Thursday. And that's why Merrimack, like, it's the best league around, because it's not only like is it the draft league and it's even, but like it makes it fun when you have everybody there.
Yeah.
So like for all summer, Monday and Wednesday, from 6:30 till like 10 o'clock at night, there's a lot of people at the field watching games and just hanging out. Like, that makes it fun. But then when you have random nights of the week, then it's like,
it messes everything up. I wish like Nashua Tuesday, Thursday, it used to be that way where everybody would kind of hang out, and it's just kind of dwindled over the years.
You'll see team here, team here, team
here.
here.
I don't know when that started happening, honestly, but it's just what happened. I don't know.
It's just how it turns out, I guess.
Yeah, it is what it is. Andrew Leandre says, Greta, my guy. And here's our first UFC question, and there is some stuff about the UFC that we definitely got to talk about. But from Kendall Payne Glover, the Faction Cast podcast, a friend of the show, is John Jones overrated?
No. John Jones is arguably my favorite UFC fighter ever. I don't think he's overrated at all, and I think he's kind of proved that by moving up a weight class. I think he just does things that are weird. Like, I'll never forget in his first, like, few fights, he would almost, like, at the beginning of the fight, he would almost, like, crawl to the opponent. And it's just, like, that was a whole new thing that people didn't realize. And he's super tall. He's long and super athletic. Even when he fought Daniel Cormier, he had, like, almost a 10 to 12-inch reach advantage. Like, that's a significant advantage.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I don't think he's overrated. I think he's done some dumb things, but there's a lot of athletes and people who have done dumb things. It doesn't mean
more than we can count.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're overrated. It just means that he probably didn't have and not for nothing, but when you're that good and you, from such a young age, like I forget, he might have been 21 when he was the youngest champion ever.
Yeah.
When you go and you beat the 8 legends that are in your class, like all-time legends, and you get your title and you go and defend it 10 times, and you get all that money, he just, to me, he probably got bored. And then he obviously did dumb things, but I don't think he's overrated. I think he's done great things for the sport, and I think he will continue. I mean, I think he'll retire soon.
He's got to be like 33?
Yeah, he's in his 30s, but I would assume like he's probably not going to have that many more fights in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
But I think he'll retire soon, and he's going to be considered one of the best ever, if not the best ever, which in my opinion he is now. But I mean, I think everyone, just like any sport, everyone has their own opinion.
Oh yeah, and well, we got another one coming up.
Yeah.
I gotta say, last night I went down a rabbit hole on Instagram, and Joe Rogan was talking about Mike Tyson in his prime, and he talked about this fight where he's facing, it was either Joe Louis or Frazier. He was facing Frazier's son, and when Mike Tyson was just knocking people out, and he's like, dude, it looked like a slaughter. So I was like, let me pull up this fight. And I was like, oh my God, like Tyson, like I knew, but I hadn't watched one in a while. Like the guy's legs collapse, and like and then the funny thing about the video is Tyson starts talking, and he's got the list like even worse when he was younger. And I was like, this guy's just killing people. You know?
I mean, it's even John Jones. Like people said he was gonna have a tough time when he went to heavyweight, and the one guy that people thought that he would have a problem with was Cyril Gane, who he fought.
Yeah.
And like, tapped him out the first round. It's like people don't know what to do, and it's like he's not. To me, he's the best ever, but everyone has their own opinion.
Absolutely. Joshua Hangland just says, good dude. Jen Spilova says, fake Greek.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say Jen's a fake Greek.
Yeah, I speak more Greek than her, so.
Yeah. I don't know, but now here's the controversial one that gets a lot of people talking, gets a lot of people fired up, because I think you and me are on the same page. Wayne LaCourte? LaCourte. Oh, I must have.
He's actually Jacinda's cousin.
Is he really?
We found that out recently, yeah.
I know, yeah, Wayne comes down on Sundays.
Yep.
Jordan or LeBron? I think we talked about this before.
Everyone gives me crap about it, but I'm a LeBron guy. And it's just because I don't tell people who's, like, LeBron is my GOAT. But, for example, if somebody was to say to me, like, if you were to say, like, Jordan is, it's like, fine, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But what I don't agree with is when people, like, will sit there and they'll say LeBron isn't even in the conversation.
That's annoying.
And it's like every logical explanation, it's only those two in the category. Kobe's up there, not on the same level, but LeBron is just, he's been an icon since he came into the league.
I'm the same age as him.
Yeah, and I mean, not for nothing, but there's never been a professional athlete ever that's had that much pressure from that young of an age and fulfilled and exceeded every expectation possible. And it's like, I still remember when I was a kid playing basketball and the Sports Illustrated cover with his face on it. It said The Chosen One.
Yeah.
It's like he exceeded every expectation possible. And I've been a fan of him since he came into the league. I got his jersey like right when he got drafted. Then my mom took me to the first game that he was here in Boston.
Yeah.
And we sat right next to the tunnel, so like high five, everything. And he just, for me, also being a basketball player and like someone that loves and focuses on the game, to me, he just does everything unlike any other player ever. And I also didn't have the privilege, like I was born in 91. I didn't have the privilege of sitting and growing up and watching a ton of Jordan. So nothing against MJ or anything, but like as a basketball player all around, LeBron's going to be my pick every time. Just
yeah, I mean, I watched Jordan. He was great. I've watched them both. I was a Pippen kid growing up because everybody loved Jordan.
That's the other thing that people drive me nuts about. It's like, you can't, oh, well, LeBron started the super teams and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, yeah, but in the 90s, it's like they're just discrediting everybody that Jordan had around him.
Yeah, constantly.
And not for nothing, but like I've watched The Last Dance. The documentary was great. It pointed out that one of arguably like the best GMs ever in sports was Jerry Krause.
Yeah.
And it's like, you look at who they got Jordan, and it's like, yeah, their team was really good around him. Like LeBron's first years in Cleveland.
He dragged a team at 22 years old to the finals.
Yes, against the dynasty Spurs,
yeah.
Which is crazy. And it's like, and I've done it too, and I've like brought this up to people. I'm like, okay, because they bring up everyone's excuses, the rings and the record, and Jordan's 6-0 in the finals.
Unless they're Brady haters, then it doesn't matter in another sport. So yeah.
So like Jordan's 6-0 in the finals, and LeBron's 4-8 or something. And I'm like, okay, but if you took number one, getting to the finals that much takes a lot.
Yeah.
You're just discrediting the fact that he lost. So it's like, okay, he made the finals more than Jordan. But then you look at who he's played in the finals versus Jordan. It's not even close. LeBron's had to play the dynasty Spurs multiple times. Arguably some of the greatest teams ever.
The Warriors.
Then he's played the Warriors what, 4 times or 3 times?
Yeah, and they had to go with Durant on top of already being this giant, like, mega team.
So it's like LeBron started the super team, and I get it, whatever, but he's also had to go up against the super team. So it's like, it's not like he just went up against nobodies.
Listen, they were going to collapse when Jordan retired because they were going to collapse the Bulls, and he knew he needed those guys. That's why he decided he could have gone somewhere else. He decided not to play. But what got me is these people that are just. I didn't like the decision. I liked that the money went to the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
In 2010, but I was never. It's like. I always liked LeBron when he came in the league. Hated when he went to the Heat, but this obsession and trying to discredit everything this guy does for the last 13 years just because you hated that. And I'm like, this kid came from nothing and not for anything. Like, but the stuff they say about him, it just gets to the point. It's like, it's just funny to hear it from Patriot fans because they say the same things about Brady, and it's just the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, it's a lot of it's like people don't like who. Like, I think a lot of the hate around us that LeBron gets is because he beat us multiple times.
But it's annoying, yeah.
It's annoying and it's great, but like you have to sit there and, like, for example, when he's gone, it's like you have to appreciate all of that, like the highlights and stuff that he gave us. And it's like, people, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with everything that he says or everything that he does. Like, the decision, I thought it was dumb, but it was for charity.
Yeah.
So it's like, but everyone thinks that, like, everyone likes to think, like, forget about the charity part.
Yeah.
They just think, like, oh, he's arrogant, he wanted to do this and this and this. Yeah. It was like, no. The Boys and Girls Club probably went to him and, like,
it was the whole thing. He was there, the kids were there. Again, I was hoping he was just going to re-sign. He didn't. And whatever. Like, it's just obnoxious. And it's like, once they've dug their hole so deep that I'm like, I can't hear it anymore because it's just obnoxious.
And I think your boy Pippen doesn't get enough credit either. Like, when Jordan left to go play baseball, I think
they still were in it.
They won 2 less games total than when they had Jordan. It's like, Scottie Pippen is one of the, and I'm pretty sure he's on the top 75.
He's definitely,
So he's.
I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted Scottie, because like everybody was like, as a kid, I had a Celtics hat, but I didn't really understand like everything. But the Bulls were always in it, so I had a Pippen. I had like a Pippen poster. I had a Larry Bird shirt. Celtics hat. It was the whole thing. Let's get through some of these real quick.
Yeah.
Jacinda made Greta Stick, Devon Tyler Sline, I think. Michael Schultz, what are your thoughts on Johnny Appleseed, inside joke?
Yeah, it's inside joke.
Okay. Anything you're shameful from Kenny and Michael Schultz? Kenny Layton?
Yeah, so it's just, like, it has to do with Jacinda, and, like, it was funny. We were sharing a hotel room at Nationals with Kenny and Kendall, his wife. And I went and took a shower, and Kenny and Kendall, like, were out, and we had gotten back to the hotel room, and Jacinda was sitting in the room, and I got out of the shower and I walked out of the bathroom, and I had I had changed and everything, and I walked out of the bathroom, and there was a bag on the floor, and I walked out of the bathroom into the room, and I walked and I stepped over the bag. When I stepped over the bag, I farted.
Oh, God.
And I looked at, just like, it was just a knee-jerk reaction. Like, I whipped my head around and looked at Jacinda. I was like, oh, I'm ashamed of myself. I'm sorry. So then they always give me crap about that.
Okay, that makes sense. I knew there was probably something behind it. Pikachu, Brandon, the Godfather. Oh, God, I may have to listen to this one. I guess Brandon doesn't support my show. So thanks for that, Brandon.
Guy can't even read.
Brittany's still going on about the hotel.
Yeah.
We're limited on time. He can answer that at the field. So let's see. Oh, one last question here from Crayon Dude, Rob Kazan. Oh, this is pretty detailed. We'll have to go through this quick. Who do you predict winning each of the 8 NFL divisions?
Oh.
That's a loaded. We could spend a lot on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty much open. And I also forget who's in what divisions, but I mean, I think the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bengals are 0-2, but like I think the same groups of teams, I think will, in the end of the season, I think they'll still be there. Like the Dolphins, I think our division's crazy because we just don't know. The Jets now losing Rodgers, I think
Can't believe that.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Are Patriots fans the worst, like Tyreek Hill described after the Dolphins win against the Pats? I mean,
no, I think Boston sports gets that all the time, but I think it's just, I've heard the same about like Chicago fans. It's a lot of it is the passion.
Yeah.
Like Adam Jones, when he played for the Orioles, used to say like Boston fans were racist and blah blah blah. It's just like, yeah, but you can't take like 10 fans and blame that on an entire city.
Yeah.
And I think the passion overall for New England sports in general, I think that's where, like, because I've gone to, for example, I went to the NBA Finals a few years ago when the Celtics played the Lakers. I went here in Boston. It was crazy. I went in LA to the finals, and it wasn't even remotely close because the fans in certain places just don't care a lot like here. So I think that's where a lot of people get flack, is because Boston fans are just diehard fans for every sport we have, as opposed to other cities that aren't.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, yeah, Boston has a history of some racist things, not to do with sports and stuff like that. But, like, you're right. Like, you can't judge a whole fan base on a couple of idiots. So it's like Philly fans hate that when you associate them with the stupid parts of their fan base.
Exactly.
You know?
So, I mean, I think Boston fans just get... And I think a lot of athletes that say that stuff, I think they do just blame it on the history of...
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, we know the history of Boston, but that's not who... You can't define a city and the fans by that.
Kyrie Irving tried to run with that, saying people hate me because they're... I'm like, dude, it's because you played there and you're always looking for something. And you know, I hate that guy.
I hate Kyrie Irving, too.
Yeah, it's
so
just
bad.
annoying because...
I'm a big Barstool guy, and I love Dave Portnoy. Like, he freaks out about Kyrie Irving. It's the greatest thing possible.
Yeah, it's like Kyrie, like, that's the only thing is when you blame... Don't call that stuff out when it's really happening.
Yeah.
Because when you call it out when it's not, it discredits when it does.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
hate that. WWE and UFC merged in this group endeavor. Thoughts on that? And I want to just ask this because I thought I'd said on another show coming down the aisle that I believe that UFC fans would hate that to have association with professional wrestling. Everybody knows that I love pro wrestling, but a lot of MMA fans don't like it because it is a show, not an... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
competitive, predetermined. It's a predetermined show.
I think it's great from a business aspect. It's always about getting more money. So I think like that's a big push for why they did it. Do I think it's going to really affect anything as far as like the UFC? Like the UFC is not going to turn into like a show like WWE. I think certain things that they do, like this just happened, so we obviously don't know what will happen, but I think overall, as the rest of the year plays out, like I think certain, whether it's marketing or certain like way things are done and advertised, I think you'll start to see different things. But overall, I think they're gonna, just like in a lot of mergers, it's like companies will go together, but when you actually look at it, they still remain separate.
Yeah.
They're just under the same umbrella, which I think is what will happen. But I think it's great for business, and they're probably doing it a lot to combine the fan bases. Like a lot of people, like you love pro wrestling, and I love UFC. And for example, like if now with this merger, it's like now more on pro wrestling, it's like they can promote UFC more
Yeah.
and vice versa. So it's like it's just going to attract more of an audience, which is obviously great. And certain people like that watch WWE, for example, they've never watched a UFC like event. It might intrigue them enough to watch it now, and they might love it, and vice versa. Like, so I think overall, I think it's just a big way to bring in more fans. But ultimately, I don't think it's going to change what goes on.
Yeah, because I do think there's more WWE people that will. Now, I enjoy the UFC, but I don't follow like I do WWE, obviously. But I think you'll get a lot more WWE people coming over to watch the UFC than you're going to get UFC going to WWE.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I would fair to say that there's probably more WWE fans in total than UFC fans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that that's something that they live with.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows? I do think you're right, though. I do think more fans will come from WWE to UFC as opposed to the other way around.
I gotta say, the UFC cuts some better wrestling promos than some of the wrestlers do.
Yeah,
it's
great.
Conor McGregor is made for WWE. I'm sure he's going to do something. I don't know if he'll wrestle because he's a smaller guy.
Yeah.
But, like, they're definitely going to do something.
One of the best guys, Colby Covington. He's, like, another guy that's like Conor McGregor, very outspoken, and he's fighting, I think they just announced at the end of the year. So you'll see a lot of cut promos for that, and it's just, that's how the business works.
Yeah. I see, and I hate it because I always wanted to stay in the McMahon family, and I wanted wrestling to be our thing, so a merger, but when they almost sold WWE to the Saudis, I said, okay, I can live with this instead of that.
Yeah. I mean, and I love Dana White. Him being a Boston guy, I think he's just great, and I think he'll be very helpful in everything.
I did want to we don't really have as much time. I just want to ask real quickly, who are some of the top tournament teams you'd say right now going into, I know Worlds is coming up, any division really?
Yeah, I mean, I think JLG Wolfpack is who Schultz plays for.
Okay.
I think they'll do really good. Some D teams, I think, Different Breed. They have a couple guys that played on the Challenge Cup with us. Who else? I think National Gold, I think, will be pretty good. Trying to pick one from like each division. Platinum Fire, I think, will do good. Bololi, they're a B team, I believe. So I think they'll do really good. Benny Call is one of the best players that I know and have seen around. He plays in Merrimack, and he plays for Bololi. So I think ultimately Worlds is just, you have to get hot that weekend. You could literally be undefeated all season long. If you don't have it that weekend, you just don't have it. So I think it's just a matter of like clicking at that specific time. That's why I like to tell people, like, World is completely separate than the whole season.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, teams are playing year-round, blah, 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 and we're not. It's like, yeah, but if you go that one weekend and you just click at that time, it's like anything can happen.
Well, Kevin Hill said you might hit a Florida buzzsaw because they don't play during our summer.
Yeah.
And they're really starting to heat up when Worlds happens because it's too hot down there. I did want to give a shout out to the Narwhals and Mikey White. They won in Texas over the weekend. Favorite musical artist?
Think.
Did I say Mikey Webb? Mikey White.
No, you said Mikey.
Oh, okay.
I'm more of a hip hop guy, so I would say The Game.
Okay.
Jadakiss. Lil Durk is a new one that I like. And then I do like Morgan Wallen. I try to expand a lot. I think those are like the top ones I listen to. Or Joyner Lucas, another one. He's from Mass.
Yeah, local
He's
guy.
great, yeah. So I think that's pretty much, I would say, a top 5 that I have.
Yeah, I do love The Game. The documentary is one of my favorite albums ever. I mean, that you can listen to the whole thing through.
Exactly.
Which is ideally what you want. Now, when people did buy CDs.
I still remember that time. That was hilarious.
I do want to get into one of my favorite segments on the show, which is blank versus blank. I'm going to give you 2 things. You got to pick one. Tell me why.
Okay.
Jay-Z or Big L?
Jay-Z. And that's just because he was big when I was growing up. And I've gone to a couple of his concerts, and Jay-Z's just not for nothing, but he's also like a huge business guy.
Yeah.
And I admire that versus what he used to do.
Absolutely. Big L, he died so young.
Yeah.
You know. Nas or Tupac?
Tupac, and because my cousin who's older, he's like my older brother, he always was a Tupac guy. Like, I still remember growing up and watching movies with him, with Tupac, like Poetic Justice and Juice.
My girl Janet's in that.
And I still watch Juice to this day. Like,
Yeah.
I think I watched it last week. It was the day that they had it on HBO Max, the day his anniversary of dying. And they had Juice on, and it's just, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's sitting in my back seat right now for some reason. I keep going, I should bring that in the house. Would you rather swing a Mikan or Louisville?
If I had to pick, Louisville. I mean, I swing Easton a lot, but I think Louisville has definitely stepped their game up a lot now, and Anarchy too. My whole team started swinging Anarchy a lot more this year, and I love it.
Nice. In Tuesday, Thursdays, All Construction, even though they had a different name last year, now they got two championships. They're starting to kind of hit maybe Dynasty. The former Dynasty was the Unmasked Raccoons. Which team you taking? Unmasked Raccoons or All Construction?
I'm going to say the Raccoons. I only played against you guys for 1 year.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, I think that team was great. And, I do think All Construction is a great team, but I think only winning 2 championships in a row doesn't really.
They gotta at least get one more to
exactly.
get in the conversation, because that's been a lot of dynasties in that league. Yeah, you got
Dynasty's magic number is 3. So
because it went Extreme Temp, Raccoons, Kung Fury 1-1, and now All Construction has 2. So
calling it Atomic 2024 is
there we go.
championship material.
I like to hear that. Who would you rather have in the outfield, Michael Schultz or Kenny Layton?
I'm going to say Schultz because he's taller.
Okay. He'll love to hear that. Mike loves to hear good compliments.
Kenny's fast. Kenny's probably faster, but I would take both of them.
Yeah.
But I just, for the sake of the argument, I would just say Schultz.
Okay, fair enough. Would you rather go, I don't know if you're a coffee guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Dunks or Starbucks?
I'm a Starbucks guy, but that's just because, to me, I could have one, like, cold brew. I drink cold brew. So, to me, if I go to Dunkin' Donuts, it will be, like, 2 versus Starbucks, like, 1.
Okay.
Just Starbucks, I just prefer the stronger coffee. So, Starbucks, to me, has the stronger coffee, and, like, I'm fine with just 1 cold brew versus Dunkin' Donuts, where I feel like I would have to have multiple to, like, get that craving. But
Okay. Is it hard to find, though? Like, 'cause I know there's a Dunks on every corner.
No, Starbucks isn't hard, especially, like, I just use the app.
Oh, okay.
Just and then I use the app, so it's like we could just order it wherever, and wherever you are, the app comes up with the closest Starbucks. So you know where it is. It's just, and they're pretty popular everywhere now, so.
Yeah. We have a rivalry going on with Seattle in a rugby thing, so I avoid Starbucks. Manchester. Would you rather play softball in Manchester or Nashua?
I would say Nashua only because I don't play a lot in Manchester.
Yeah.
So, like, outside of Wolf, which a lot of tournaments go to Wolf, and the Sunday League this year, like, I forget where we played last week.
We were at Green Acres.
So, like,
and it was green in the infield.
Yeah, so there's a couple of fields in Manchester that, like, I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I've never played an actual league, like, or multiple leagues around Manchester like I have in Nashua. So
Okay.
I would say Nashua for me personally, but that's just because that I've played there more.
Okay, fair enough. All right. If you could only go by one name for the rest of your life, Greg is totally taken away. You got to be Gretchen or Greta. What are you taking?
Greta. Because that just means I'm not in trouble. Gretchen, if I hear Gretchen, then yeah, I'm probably in trouble. Kind of like my mom growing up. Like, if I heard Greg, it was, like, fine.
Yeah.
If I heard Gregory, it's like, okay, level 2, and, like, I was semi in trouble. But if I ever heard Gregory Allen, then I knew I was screwed.
Yeah.
I knew I was screwed. If the middle name came out, then it was like not even answer.
That's like a universal mom thing.
Yeah.
Your full name, middle name,
and we had a set of stairs in the house, so like I could always tell when my mom was at the top of the stairs, like yelling down.
Yeah.
And if I heard Gregory Allen, it was like, oh, I just pretended like I wasn't there.
No, but Greg, I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Appreciate you
It's
having
been
me.
a blast.
Thank you very much.
Everybody out there, have a great week. Keep your heads up. Behave yourselves. Until next time, let's read the ring.